So let's turn on, let's organize the visualizer a bit better so we can see the actual fire. So come in here to the smoke object, turn off density, turn on multi-field as per usual. Okay, maybe we'll go forward a few frames and so that we can see the density and the flames and the temperature and everything. Okay, density in here. Actually, we could just leave this blank. I'm not going to bother. And then we can kind of make this a bit darker. Let's push that to 3. And then the emission, just like before, so we're using the flame field, and we need to push up the scale so we can actually see something. And then for the color, the temperature. There we go. So we're seeing something now, and make sure that we set up these values. So what was it, about 3000, and ambient with 300. You could play around with these just to, you know, get something close to what you want. Again, you know, you can play around with these values in the shader afterwards, after the fact. But we'll just leave it like this at the moment. We can play around these as well. Well, just leave it like that for the moment. Let's, before we forget, copy this parameter and let's go back down here, back into our source, start pasting that in these. So in the power source, particle separation here. Okay, there we go. And in the volume rasterize. Great. In here. Okay, and for the velocity as well. Great. What else do I want to do? So I'm going to come into the sim and start adding all of these. So basically I'm going to turn all 3 of these on. So I want the flames to add temperature and expansion. Okay, and let's see. Let's just see if that does something from the get-go. Okay, let me just turn that off a minute. I'm also going to push this up. I want a lot of smoke coming from the fire. Okay, let's just do that, and then I'm going to start building another system in the source. So the idea here obviously is that, you know, we've got some kind of fuel escaping from the helicopter, and that catches on fire and explodes. And what I'd like to do is have a sense of that fuel being on the ground, so kind of pouring out. And so I want some fire kind of on the floor around the helicopter. So we're going to set up another source where the helicopter is actually landing on the ground, and then we're going to generate an emitter based on the proximity of the ground to that helicopter geometry. Okay, so let's just stop this and start to put that together. Just press escape. There we go. So back into my smoke source. And let's see, so let's build it kind of on this side. So I'm going from the and grab this. Okay, let's turn off the visualization there, and then I've also got, let's hide other objects. Where's that coming from? There we go. So let's see, it's a bit kind of wrapped around here because I want to cut across. Well, never mind. Let's do it like that. I'm going to drop a color. Okay, just to give it some value. It's not going to look any different right now. to my helicopter, just to give it a CD value, because I'm going to be transferring that across. And drop a grid. Okay, so we need to bring that over. Let's see where the helicopter is. Bring that over about here. So let me just round up these values, minus 30. And make it bigger. That. So I want to see, basically, I wanted to capture everywhere where the helicopter goes from the start to the end. Okay, so along these lines, and then just we're going to be cutting this down, so it doesn't matter if it's too big, just to capture, as I said, where the helicopter is. Just move it over a bit like that. Okay, and I want to give it a load of points, and I'm going to make it black. On the points, which is perfect, and that's what we've got here. And I'm going to attribute transfer this color across. Okay, so just that CD attribute is already doing it. That's fine. And then I just want to blend this, I think. So I'm going to bring that all the way down. Let's visualize it here. And yeah, I want something a bit more subtle. So let's move forward a bit. Maybe go down a bit. You can try different models there. Go, something like that. We just change the lighting there, we could see it a bit better. Good, so yeah, you can see we got some which are all black and some which are pretty much white, and we'll have a little bit of kind of gradient on that as well. Let's set this, round this up. I'm going to do 5.5, something like that. Good. And then, so obviously this is just changing per frame, but I wanted to save the kind of highest white values. Right, so I'm going to drop a solver underneath, plug that into the first input, and this solver needs to be starting, I'm going to start it just a bit early, so before the explosion, so frame 52. Okay, and go here, dive inside. Okay, we need the previous frame and input 1. The rest we don't need, we'll just move them out the way. And drop a wrangle. Plug the previous frame into the second input, and then this one into the first input. Okay, there we go. So we're seeing we've got the grid coming in here, and then the grid how it was on the previous frame there. Okay, and basically we want to see if the color of the point in the previous frame is brighter than the color in the point in this frame, then set that color now to that previous color. Okay, so it's kind of a bit complex. So if this color is darker, we can't see it now. If this color is lighter than this color, right? So if you think about this passing through, at some point these points are going to be brighter than they are on the next frame. So if they are, then store that the brightest color, basically. Okay, so to do that, we just use a simple if statement. So if the color, it's a vector at CD, is less bright than the color, so coming into the second input, or the first input, sorry, the first input, and the name of the attribute is CD. Okay, and we want to use ptnum, so the actual ptnum, or I think 0 would work here as well, just whatever point we're iterating on at the moment. And what if it is less than that color in the second input, then set that color, set the color now, set the color in the first input to this color. Okay, so we need to write point 1. It's basically the same thing again. CD, that's ptnum. Oops, no, just need the one there. Okay, if we come down here, so hopefully now if we reset that, let's drop an output into the bottom, visualize that, come back out here, visualize this, we'll just reset it, and hopefully that will work. So there we go. So you can see that now it's saving the previous color, basically. Great, so we'll use this as a base to as another emitter. So imagine this as being like fuel which is spilled out of the helicopter and is kind of just burning on the ground. Okay.